Testing. Okay. Welcome to the Brighten Your Day podcast. I'm sorry. If you're in video form, I just have to have you appreciate this beautiful day today. The sun is shining. There is no wind. The audio is crisp and clear. If you're not in video, gosh, just imagine the most pristine beach and I am sitting in a hammock. And it's amazing. Off topic, but as I'm talking, I'm literally watching these like flying fish jump out of the ocean, and I have no idea what they're doing, but it looks crazy, but it looks really cool at the same time. Good morning. I hope that you guys are already having a good day, and if not, hopefully this can kind of get you in the right track or have you thinking about something just more positive for the day. I have one question for you to start this topic off. Have you ever said yes to something that you maybe would have never said yes to, but you like randomly did, or it was super spontaneous and you said yes and it ended up being like way better than you could have ever imagined? Because that happened to me this last weekend, and that's why it's going to be the topic of this video, because it just kind of fell into my arms. So much content, so many things to say, just like fell into my lap, which is great because I didn't know how I wanted to start this second episode. A little bit after my story of what happened, I am going to read aloud your guys' stories. And if you don't follow the Instagram, the Brighten Your Day podcast Instagram, one, you should. But two, if you do, you probably saw that I posted a prompt for you guys to respond to. And this is going to be a regular thing. Every time I do a solo podcast, I'm going to try and bring in you guys somehow, in some way. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your funny stories or something crazy that happened to you. And it'll kind of tie into the topic of the episode. I'm almost wanting you guys to treat it as like a journal prompt, if you will. Yeah, if you need something to write about, or if you like blogging or journaling, please consider writing into the podcast. I would love to hear from you guys. So, let's like relax. Take a deep breath. It is amazing outside. If you haven't seen the sun, I encourage you to go outside, see the sun. Who knows what it could do for you? It does wonders for me, okay? Wonders. I always just like to take a moment before I get into anything else. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was a seagull. It was so loud. Okay, what happened to me this weekend? So, if you guys don't know, I am a model. I actually am contracted through an agency, and it's been so fun. This is going to be like a later episode, but it's almost weird for me to call myself a model. I've never thought that I would be a model, never thought that was like, I don't know, something I could do. So it's always weird to officially claim that as true. So I'm working on that. I'm working on it. This weekend I got invited to do this event. It was this car show, and it was just so fun. So I got ready for that, and I had been thinking and explaining to my husband and people I want to do more modeling events. I want to do more photo shoots, but I don't really know how. It's just, I don't know, I just don't know how. So I go to the event, ends up being so fun. I learned so many things about cars because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not a car girl, at all. But it ends up being so fun. I ate some empanadas, met a lot of cool people. It just was great. But this is the crazy part. I am sitting there and I meet this new girl, and she's so sweet, so nice. So we're sitting there eating our lunch, and she's freaking out, okay? She's on text with someone. She's talking back and forth, and she's oh no, what do I do? Oh my gosh. She's trying to figure something out. And I'm oh, what's going on? And she's okay, so I'm doing this photo shoot tomorrow, and they needed a blonde. And so I asked my friend, and now my friend just canceled last minute, and I don't know what to do because we don't have another blonde. And I'm sitting there that's crazy. What kind of photo shoot is it? And she's oh, it's a bikini photo shoot. So fun. They have hair and makeup girls there, professional photographers, all this stuff. And I'm just sitting there that kind of sounds a lot like something I would like to do. Just a little bit, that sounds a little fun. So I'm sitting there with her and then this other girl, and shout out to this other girl. Her name's Valentina. She's literally the best. She's like, why don't you have Brighton do it? Brighton, like, why don't you do it? And I sit there and I'm like, if it's okay, you know, you could ask her if she like needs another person, um, all this stuff. It ends up working out like perfectly. Like, she looks at my photos, she loves it. She's like, yes, if you can. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I have anything going on tomorrow. But I'm like, in the back of my head, sometimes when things get sprung onto me, like spontaneously, I always have this like weird introverted tendency, which I don't really feel like I'm an introvert, but sometimes I'm like, I just feel like sometimes it comes out where in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. It's like Sunday. Like, I need to like clean a lot. Like, maybe I should edit my video. Like, oh, maybe it's just not for me. And I'm sitting there like, okay, this just fell into my lap. How many times have I like told people that I've wanted to do more photo shoots? How many times have I said, I want to do a bikini photo shoot, like a real life photo shoot? That'd be so fun. Like, why are you sitting there and even contemplating if you're going? Like, you are going. You're going, Brighton. So the girl's like, oh yeah, like, by the way, it is like 3 hours away. And it's tomorrow. Like, you have to wake up pretty early. I hope that's okay. I sit there and I'm like, that's okay. I'm literally coming, which it's kind of new for me. Kind of new for me to drive by myself. So yeah, it ended up being seriously the best time. I met the nicest people. They took care of me. The makeup artist was amazing. The owner of the swimwear brand, I'll tag her. And if you guys follow my Instagram, like I tagged her in like a behind the scenes type of reel. They were so amazing. Like, they like made me all this food. They bought me pizza at the end of the day. I genuinely feel like I found like a whole new group of friends too. And I couldn't have been more grateful to myself and to them, but to myself for taking the leap, doing it, even if it's inconvenient or even if it's like I had to drive 6 hours in one day, which, yes, I did have to drive 6 hours in one day, and that was something. Let me tell you, I did not get a lot of beauty sleep. Now I want to share with you guys the journal prompt that I asked you. Let me pull up some of your guys' stories. I'm so excited to see what they say because this is what I want. I want your stories. I want them. Because I'm cool, but I'm not that cool. I don't have that many experiences, okay? Also, these can be anonymous. Unless you say, like, you want to say your name or unless you, like, put your name, I will always do these anonymously. Because I want your stories to be truly heard. I don't want you to have to worry about anyone saying your name or anyone saying anything. So just for future reference, I will keep these anonymous. Okay, let's start with the first one, and we will go from there. So my prompt was, what is something you randomly and maybe surprisingly said yes to that ended up being even better than you could have imagined? One person said yes to therapy, and it turned into becoming the healthiest version of myself I didn't even know existed had I not started in the first place. Wow, let's start out with just, that is a good one. That's probably one of the best ones. Love that for you. Love that for you. I have nothing else to say besides good job. Okay, second one. Said yes to yoga teacher training after being asked so many times if I wanted to join. I didn't want to, but I did to learn more about myself, and it turned into a full career where I get to travel the world and serve women. Whoa! Are you kidding me? I want that job. I feel like the less you will yourself into something, usually the better it is, if that makes sense. Like, if you're trying so hard for something and it's not working, that's not usually meant for you. I feel like the easiest things that have like fallen into my lap has always been like the most peaceful and joyful things ever. And who doesn't want to find a job that just doesn't feel like work? Okay, so I have 2 more stories from you guys, but I found this quote that had to do with this topic, and I think that this is a perfect time to say it. So I try to find a quote to go along with this just to sound like smarter and cooler, but I did not know this quote off of like the top of my head. But it's from Albert Einstein, actually, and the quote says, "Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts." Anyways, to this story about the yoga teacher training, I'm so glad that it turned into a full-time career that you absolutely love. It sounds absolutely amazing. And I will say, I know that person in person, and she is just the best. She is literally living life, doing what she loves, and I'm so grateful to that. Holy crap. It is 12 p.m. and it is so hot outside. So the third story says, Running and jumping into the North Sea when I was staying in a castle in Scotland. It was freezing, but one of the most refreshing and memorable times in my life. Are you kidding me? My husband and I are going to go on like a European trip or somewhere out there, and I've been wanting to go to Scotland so bad. That sounds incredible. I feel like I have so many memories like that where I'm just so grateful I got into the water and got my hair wet, even though it wasn't hair wash day, or tried out something new. Like, oh, I can just see that image in my head of jumping into the North Sea in Scotland. That's like once in a lifetime. You gotta do it. You have to. Okay, and the last one. I think being open to saying yes to trying out sales ended up much better than I would have hoped. It was something I always thought was not me, something I didn't think I would try, ended up giving me gifts and skills I wouldn't have had otherwise. The gift of freedom and confidence and the gift of everything I ever thought I would need was right around the other side of something uncomfortable. Ooh, 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 love that. Oh my gosh, I do know this quote off the top of my head that goes with that. I think Will Smith, I think it's Will Smith, but I'll have to make sure. He's the one that says this. God places the best things in life on the other side of fear. I actually used to have that quote hanging in my room. I don't know, it just gives me so much hope. Like if I can just push through the uncomfortableness, like it will always be rewarded in some way, shape, or form. I truly believe that. Gosh, thank you so much for your entries. I loved that. Those were such good responses. Oh, so beautiful. I am ramping up to get more guests on my podcast, whether it's me traveling to them or them traveling to the sandy shores of Florida. So stay tuned for that. Just remember, if something is asked of you, if someone asks something of you and it's random and maybe a little scary, just say yes next time. There's my challenge to you. Just say yes. You might have something crazy happen, or you might just have a good little story to tell. And that is never a bad thing. You only live once. Did I really just say YOLO? But yeah, I think I'm going to jump into the ocean, to be completely honest with you. I'm so hot right now. Go outside and see the sun, and I'll see you next time. Bye.